of not having references and living a life that I would have never lived. So basically, I go to the other side of the world. There is no reference point. I'm alone, no family. Like what I'm used in terms of brands, in terms of grocery shops, stores. There is no reference. So what happened if I would have stayed in Switzerland? Welcome with me, Jen, for video 2 of Journey Home introduction series. I'm very happy to be here and sharing with you what has been my first turning point. And yeah, to remember you, this is part of the introduction of my new offering, 21-day journey home. If you are interested, so this is to give you like a taste of who I am, my vibe, my energy, and very like an overview of the key stage, like the key turning points, like roughly the stages of my journey home, because now I'm in Barcelona, I am living my dreams. I really feel that I have made it. I have coming home, and again, like coming home is not just like it's a lifelong. I'm still working on it, but really for me it has been like huge, and also I want to have much more alignment and with my offering and what I'm going through with my life, with Let It Happen, which basically mainly work with entrepreneurial souls. So you can have your business, or you want to have a business, or just you have like that mind of an entrepreneur. And I'm not gonna go into that right now because that's not the topic. And yeah, so let's kickstart. Because as I said, I want those videos to be not too long, sweet, cool, authentic, and so that you get the vibe. And if you have any questions, please do write me either in comments here or jennifer@letithappencoaching.com, or connect on Instagram, or even on LinkedIn. I'm in different platforms. Okay, so the last time I said to you that one of the turning point was me going to the end of the world, no, the other side of the world. And yes, and it has been a turning point for me, definitely, because I was in a stage very, as I mentioned, passive, not knowing myself. I was like, my boyfriend left me, and which I went through different, because I also, at the end, it was a very good thing. I was not courageous, like I just didn't want to leave him fast, because I didn't want to blame myself, just because I didn't know myself enough. Anyway, so, but basically not with the boyfriend. I was at that time working in real estate. I was, already very comfortable with the job. I was a bit bored. And it's true that some of my friends went to learn English in Canada, in the United States, and I wasn't really appealed to that when I was in a relationship. And suddenly we were with my mom and with our dog, and my mom said, okay, I'm gonna ask you one last time, are you sure that you don't want to go and learn English, like have an overseas experience? And I do remember I took the decision in a split second. Like those things in life that boom, I was like, yes. And which was funny is that a few weeks later, I was going to New Caledonia. And basically, because I needed to, so I went to New Caledonia, which is basically next to, it's between Australia and New Zealand. And I came back, I think I worked 1 week, and I took the flight again, and I went to Australia, because I said, okay, if I need to learn English, if I need to do something, let's go to the other side of the world. And for me, it wasn't like, oh my God, I need to go like to the other side of the world to be independent or whatever. No, it was just like, very, okay, well, let's go the further way. And then it made also sense why the other side of the world. Again, looking back and connecting the dots with the level of awareness I have today. So I do remember that, and for me it has been life-changing, because you arrive in a country, it hasn't been easy. I do remember like the first day I was like crying on the bench, because also just a parenthesis, and that can be a lesson as well. I had a very horrible stay in Germany, where I was maybe, I don't know if it's too strong to say traumatized, but with the accommodation, and for me, home is very important, my environment is very important, and I felt horrible. It really had a very strong impact on me. Because then I went, I wasn't in a good state, and so it was a fear of mine that going to Australia, or whatever country, and not feeling home, and not being good in my bedroom, because for me it's so important to have a place that you feel even more in a foreign country, that it feels home. And of course, because at that stage I wasn't feeling home within, so I was relying on the external, okay? And guess what? It has been a disaster, because what you fear, you can manifest. Where your attention goes, it flows, it grows. So it hasn't, at the end it played out just fine, because the first day I met who was gonna be my boyfriend, okay, which, by the way, this was like, I'm telling you, because the universe is so perfect, synchronicities are everywhere. It's just up to us to see them. But basically, when I went to New Caledonia, I was connected, like, oh, you're going to Gold Coast in Australia, I'm gonna connect you to someone. And that person I was connected to actually was a friend of who was going to become my boyfriend, and basically he helped me with the accommodations. So we were living together before becoming boyfriend and girlfriend, a couple. So anyway, so basically, I go to the other side of the world. There is no reference point. I'm alone, no family. Like what I'm used in terms of brands, in terms of grocery shops, stores. There is no reference. So what happens? Well, it's up to me to choose. And that was liberating. Why? Because when you grow up in your environment and you see, for example, your mom going to X grocery store, guess what? What are the chances that you go to that grocery store? I guess very high chances, okay? You don't question it. You just go, because it's what you have seen yourself, the brands, etc., and so on, okay? So suddenly for me, in your country, and it's like, okay, which brand do I want? Where do I want to shop? Where do I want to live? Which neighborhood? Blah, 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 And this is very important, because for me, it has pushed me to ask myself, what do you want? What do you prefer? And to actually push me to choose something, okay? So it helps me to start like knowing a bit more about myself. This was the first thing. Then the second thing is that I met someone that was the radical opposite of my first boyfriend, and a bit of me in a way. So he was very it was very go with the flow, and I do remember, just to give you an example, so yeah, it was the typical like surf guy, but I needed that. I needed, me so disciplined, so serious, so all my life basically, which is not my personality, because I was, again, always very smiling. I'm a very joyous person. I love life, and this has always been, but in my head I was just like beating myself up, like very serious, very scared, etc. I'm not gonna watch first video. You will get a bit of a sense of where I come from. And suddenly you meet that guy, and just for an example, it's like, for example, for me, it was like, oh, it's midday, we need to have lunch. I wasn't asking myself, am I angry? Am I not angry? Do I want to have lunch here? No, it's like, no, because it's that time, we have to even. And he was like, or if it was like 4 p.m, like, oh no, we cannot eat now, because then we won't be angry anymore. Sorry, I'm saying angry, but actually it's hungry. We won't be hungry anymore. And he was like, why do we care? If we are hungry now, let's eat now, and it's fine if we don't eat later. But I was like, boom, boom, boom. We need to do it that way. There is a way, so all of that helped me kind of like live more, I was in a new country, Australia, which is very laid back, with a boyfriend that was laid back, and then I never partied really hard, so suddenly I meet a crew of friends, which for me was very new. I was going out, which was also very new, because it has never really, I'm not a party girl, I'm not a night girl, and also I didn't really went out, that much. So I did, but not, like that typical, like when I didn't. So for me it was like, typically, like the first time I was really sick with alcohol. It was like a new experience. Like I was living my teenagehood basically at 20, I think I went at 21 years old. So it's why sometimes I say I have like, like some years of like, I don't know how you say like in English, but just a few years like, and then all arrives just a few years later for some things. And so this was the second thing, like, and I'm just looking at my notes. And and the fact of being, like having that new lifestyle, I do remember that I went out of my head and I was actually living life. And the third thing is that it has been a before and an after in terms of traveling. The moment I went to Australia, which by the way, I did 2 years of back and forth, knowing that this has been pretty much all my life, that the moment I started working, I might maybe explain that in some videos, but I never went back to a job. I always there was always time in between to up level, reflect, travel. There was always a need to give me the space to actually not do a back-to-back, or there was just life circumstances that made that happen, or let that happen, no, in that case made that happen. And yes, so the thing is that then I became much more conscious of the adventure explorer of the world that I am, and you will understand later, but because that's the turning point of video 3, it has been when I came back to Switzerland, there has been another turning point that was another catalyst for me for that journey home. So basically here, it has been like an opening of starting to get some insights of myself, being pushed a bit by life, of having to choose, of not having references and living a life that I would have never lived if I would have stayed in Switzerland, because it was so different from my family, my environment. There I was like, it was a possibility of just living and knowing people that were completely different, you know. So it opened me other perceptions. I gained other perspectives, openings, you know, opening of like possibilities really. And this is part of the journey home, because the journey home is also having such an understanding of yourself so that you can understand your reference point, where is your center, so that you can live a life from your center. And why is it so important? Because then you are not in the seeking mode of, as I explained last time, of when I get that, I will feel that way, or I need that to have that. And mostly, let's be honest, what we're all looking for is a feeling, is feeling happy, feeling fulfilled, feeling abundant. And then we do believe it's through money, it's through the house, it's through the family. This is just icing on the cake. It all comes from within yourself, and honestly, it's not, is when you are feeling home and abundant and prosperous within, is when the others, your reality, so what you see in your 3D external world, is reflecting. Okay, it's a consequence. And this is very, very important. So this is video 2, and I'm looking forward to video 3 next week. And basically you will see what has been the other catalyst that really started a much more aware and conscious path. Believe in yourself to your success. Let it happen.